Good morning. It is Monday the 20th of July 2020. My name is Arran Hunt. I am a partner here at Stace Hammond and I head up the Immigration Partners division here. Now, this video was actually recorded and scripted last week, but within minutes of me finishing the recording, we had the changes to essential skills work visa come through. So basically, this video got ditched to the side for then. And we covered the essential skills work visa. Now we thought we'd actually just go through these questions now. This little video is based on questions we've had coming through in the comments on YouTube. So I thought we'd just do a quick video now, hopefully answer them. We're trying to keep it as short as possible, try and get the longer videos for the larger things coming through. But still, we'll see how fast we can get through this. As always, this is not legal advice. If you want legal advice, come and actually talk to us. We can't really... this is purely just my thoughts on how these things work, describing to you as to what the rules are, how they're applied. But I'm not saying these will apply to your situation any particular way. That's not how legal advice works. So you need to come talk to us and engage us, and then we can give you proper legal advice. First thing, quickly, is the skilled migrant residency age. What age is, when is the age calculated? Because it has to be 55 or under to apply for a skilled migrant residency. Now, the age is calculated not at when the EOI takes place, when you enter the pool, or when you're drawn from the pool. The age is calculated as to when you make the actual application. Now, I'll put a link in the description or the comments below as to an article I wrote showing the various stages. But generally, you put your name into the drawer, although the drawers right now are not taking place and won't for a few more months. Put your name into the drawer, fill out some basic details. Every 2 weeks, those pre-COVID, those drawers would take place. They'd pull out ones with 150 points or more. They'd look through it, make sure it was okay. They would then send you through an ITA, invitation to apply. At that point, you have 4 months then to provide the documentation. So you fill out the form, you sign the documents, photographs, birth certificate, employment agreement, all that sort of stuff. You send that in, they then stamp it on the date they receive it. It's a few weeks sitting in pile because there's a lot of work there. They finally look at it and go, okay, cool. If it's all good, then the day it was stamped, the day they received it, that is the day of application. And on that day, you must be 55 years or younger. If they look at it and go, nope, something's missing, they'll send it back to you to look at again, to provide the missing documentation. You send it back through again, it gets stamped again, and then that will be the day, if it's accepted, that you have to be 55 years or younger. Now, you only have 4 months to get that documentation in, so don't miss that chance, don't delay, because if they do find something missing, they'll send it back and you'll have sort of 3 or 4 weeks perhaps of where it's been sitting in their office waiting to look at, that you no longer have to act on it. So get it done quickly. Okay, next one, work visa entry. Now, as you know, the border is closed except for several exceptions. We'll quickly go over those now. Critical healthcare workers who already have a job or have a job starting between March and 31st of August 2020. They have to be sort of jobs like doctor, nurse, people who install or operate or maintain equipment, medical equipment, paramedics, ambulance workers, technical and support staff working in most hospital departments, research staff, workers delivering mental health and addiction services. Now, if you are also an internationally qualified nurse who you are looking at getting, doing the competence assessment program here in New Zealand, if you can show that you've been invited by the Nursing Council of New Zealand and are enrolled into that program, you will also be counted as being a critical health worker who can get an exception. Because we need our nurses. Love having you guys in here. Now, there's also exceptions for people who are working on major projects. There's actually a massive list of projects that are available, from roading to rail to hospital bills to America's Cup. The program going to the Antarctic. Of course, New Zealand is a staging base for Antarctica missions. Now, most likely, if these apply to you, your employer will have told you, and you won't need to help on that. Now, the other option is that if you have a high salary over $106,000 per year, being double the median salary, combined with one of the exceptions, or you can provide a benefit or show a benefit to national or regional economy, then you could get an exception that way as well. Partners and children are included in the exceptions, so if your partner and child can come with you. As I said before, if you were part of one of the listed exceptions, your employer will probably know. Otherwise, if you have a high salary or you just think you should fall into the exceptions, let us know. We'll have a chat to you and see what we can advise. Now, finally, partners. Now, first thing, for those who have partners overseas, you're overseas with them and you can get in on an exception, then that sort of can bring them in. If, unfortunately, partners who are overseas who are not on an exception list, or partners to someone who is on the exception list, then they cannot come in. We can apply for a visa. The reason being is that Immigration New Zealand have their hands tied in that they cannot grant a visa if the person cannot cross the border. That's a government law, it's a legislation, so Immigration New Zealand cannot do that. It would be illegal for them to do it. So if your partner is overseas, and I know a few of my clients have partners overseas, and it is hard for them to understand that they cannot come across, but that is currently the law. Now, for those in New Zealand, we'll break it into people who are partners for residents and citizens, and those who are partners of work visa holders or student visa holders, all those sort of categories. Now, for residents and citizens, nothing has really changed. To make sure that you maintain your visa, you need to have a temporary entry visa at all times, unless you have a residency visa has been granted. If your visa is running out, your temporary entry one, and you have residency applications in place, you need to apply for a new temporary entry visa, because you do not get an interim visa from residency visa applications. You must have a temporary entry visa at all time until you get residency. You need to be living with your partner in a genuine, stable relationship. Now, you may have heard in the media and sadly from a number of immigration advisors and some lawyers that you need to be living with a person for a certain number of months before you can apply for a temporary entry visa or a work visa under partnership. That is incorrect. There is no minimum, there is no requirement in the operational manual, there is no set standard. I've had clients who have basically come into the country to be with their partner. They were overseas, their partner was here. They've landed, moved in together once they've arrived, and we've applied for a work visa within days of them arriving. What it does, in the honesty, is that by saying that to people, people will often, or make it easier for them. So if it's easier for me to have someone who gives me 6 months of evidence living together than 6 days. And that is often what they're pushing for. They're looking for the easy jobs, and they will basically say something that's not true. When, frankly, there's ways to do it. You need to be able to show for my clients that may have had like a couple of days together, but they've had 6 months or a year or 2 years in this long relationship apart, and you just try to show that they are genuine and stable. Living together part is relatively easy to prove. It's a genuine, stable part, which is a bit harder. But if they've got the history, we can do that, even if it's only days together. Now, little notes here. Your first visa you'll get under that will be 1 year. After that, the second will be 2 years. They will give 2-year visas on the first go if you've sort of got a really well-established relationship. They're not supposed to most of the time, but that they will. Then you need to apply for residency. After 1 year together, living together, genuine and stable, you apply for residency visa, but you must often also apply for a work visa at the same time, because you must maintain a temporary entry visa at all times. So what we'll do is we'll often do, if someone is sort of around that 1 year point, we'll do a deal where we'll do a fixed price for both the temporary entry, the work visa, as well as the residence visa, because often the work will overlap. It's cheaper for the applicant that way, because we're handling a lot of documents just once, just using the documents twice. It's easier for us. We can just sort of cut and paste a lot of the information across. So if you are in that situation, or any sort of work visa you're after, let us know. We can see how we can help. We can see if we can bring your costs down on that application. Now, for those who are partners of work visa holders, typically your work visa, the work visa of the partner or the children will be tied to the work visa, the expiry date of the work visa for the main applicant. But of course, that all changed recently with the essential skills extensions provided a week and a half ago. So up until now, like during the COVID, they extended all those temporary entry visas sort of by 6 months or by a big chunk of time. And they are due to sort of expire end of September. Now, they've since given those visa holders through another 6 months, but only for those who hold essential skills visas tied to an employer. So what it means is that you'll have the main applicant, the essential skills work visa holder who now has 6 months, might get pushed through to sort of March next year as the expiry, but his or her partner and kids have visas expiring in September. So now if they apply for a work visa and student visas now, they will be get visas that match the partners, the work visa holder expiry being March. So they're applying for a 6-month visa, effectively. It means they have to apply again for another visa next year. So it's going to make it a very expensive process. If you've got a couple of kids and the partner, you could be applying for 3 or 4 visas now, and then 3 or 4 or 5 visas early next year. So in that situation, we're talking to our clients and looking at sort of what their best pathway is, what their status of residency is. Is their application for residency in place, or are they looking at doing that? Looking at how the new essential skills rules apply. And for some of them, we're saying to them, look, while you do have that 6 months to go, that extension, it could be worth applying for that visa now. The reason being is that you go for a visa now, you get a 3-year visa, but because you apply for it now, so do your wife and children. So instead of applying for 3 visas now and then all 4 of you applying in the new year, do 4 visas now, you've just saved the cost of 3 visas. Well, it does cut yours down by 6 months. In the long run, if you're looking at residency and you'll be done in that time, that's actually going to be a lot cheaper. So if that's you in that category, give us an email, contact us, give us a call, and we'll see how we can sort of look through your situation, what we sort of provide you, and hopefully give you a cheaper, better solution. And that is it for today. We'll come back with you with anything new that comes through. We have a week to go until the essential skills work visas change, and ENSCO is gone for essential skills work visas, which will be great. Apart from that, it does raise that salary threshold. So until then, kia kaha, keep getting through this, and we'll see you next time.